Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, you know, whatever. Spider-Man's back. You know what this video is all about. Yes, in case you haven't heard the news, it is official. It's a geek. It's real. Spider-Man is officially returning back to the MCU. It's like he never left. Because he didn't. He never left because we never had a movie that was made without him being in the MCU, and Sony never made a movie with Spider-Man not being in the MCU, so really didn't change anything from the movie side. The only thing that's changed is like business stuff. It doesn't apply to any of us unless you work at Disney or Sony. So there's a percentage equity stake change. That's the big difference. This feels like a sports team thing. It's like this. Is this what happens, sports people, when like a player you like goes to another team? Is that what this is the equivalent of? I'm just curious. But yes, after all the brouhaha of, oh my God, Spidey's leaving the MCU, is Sony going to have their own universe? What's going to happen? How's it going to make sense? Doesn't mean anything now. All that talk on the internet about that stuff, null and void. Glad we all spent a bunch of time writing articles and making videos and opinions and commentaries and hot takes to just get right back where we were to begin with. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's the circle of life. There was some deal, I guess, that now Disney's gonna pay 25% of making the movie and get 25% back of the profits or equity or whatever. And then Tom Holland's gonna be able to have a third Spider-Man movie. They're also bringing John Watts, the director, back to direct the third Spider-Man movie that will be part of the Sony MCU togetherness, and Kevin Feige is going to be producing that movie as well, so he's going to be doing that, I guess, in between the other MCU movies and now Star Wars. I'm telling you, Kevin Feige, Muppets, do the Muppets next. And Spider-Man will also make an appearance in another MCU movie outside of Spider-Man. They did not say which movie that would be, so make your guesses now. Curious to see what he'll be in. Will it be one of the movies that they already announced from D23? Or will it be a brand new movie that they'll be able to make now they got Spider-Man and be able to team him up with some other characters that maybe we haven't even seen yet? You know, will he be in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? Will he be in Shang-Chi? Will he be in Blade? Will Peter Parker hang out with Blade? Are they going to send Peter Parker to Wakanda, be in Black Panther 2 as part of an internship? He'll be like Neil Patrick Harris in Undercover Brother. That's a deep cut. Maybe they'll team him up with Captain Marvel. Or maybe they'll try to do like a Young Avengers thing. Get him and Miss Marvel and all those characters together. Who knows? But he's still in there, at least for now. They said one more Spider-Man movie and one more MCU movie. And then we're probably going to go through this whole thing all over again. Get ready. Yeah, man, I'm super excited, of course, that he's back. It's just, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird just because of the fact that we did have all this energy discussing this. Obviously, this becoming public was some kind of play. I don't know by who, Sony, Disney, a third party, whatever. But clearly us knowing about this publicly was their way of being able to play around with them. We'll see. This is what the fans want. What do you want to do? And especially that whole Peter Parker, I call him Peter Parker, Tom Holland appearance at D23 when everyone was all excited to see him. And he's all like, it's been a crazy week, but I love you 3000. And everyone was just like, oh, Tom Holland. Like, I'm glad that stuff proved that we really wanted this, but at the same time, we already knew we wanted this. They already knew that we wanted this. So I don't know. This was just a money thing. It really was just a money thing. So that's the only reason why I think it feels weird. Because like I said in the video when I was talking about being upset about it, I never look at this as like someone had a creative idea and that being in the MCU for Spider-Man was stopping that creative idea. And Sony, could they make a good Spider-Man movie without the MCU or without Feige's involvement or without any of that stuff? Yeah, sure. They've done it before. It is possible. The problem was, I was talking about this recently with somebody. I was like, if this was another franchise in the MCU, like say if this was Guardians of the Galaxy. When you watch Guardians of the Galaxy before they ever meet the Avengers, those feel like their own movies. So if somehow Guardians of the Galaxy was a thing that Sony owned and they were like, we're going to do our own space adventures with Guardians of the Galaxy, I could be like, well, I would be bummed that they would be out of the MCU, but there's enough out there in space that I could see it. But Spider-Man movies, the new ones, have completely built themselves off the groundwork of what happened in the MCU. Homecoming was all about, remember what happened after the Avengers and people got mad because they were losing jobs and that's why Michael Keaton became a Vulture because of something that Tony Stark did? Far From Home, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, worked for Tony Stark and didn't get credit for his program and got fired and got all the other people that that Tony Stark got mad about, and you got Peter Parker crying with Happy, talking about how he misses Tony Stark, and there's murals of Iron Man all over the place. Like, you can't have all that in your movie and then all of a sudden go, we can do this by ourselves. No, you built your house on their lands. Spider-Man Far From Home began with an entire scene explaining what happened when half the people from the universe deleted from Thanos in Endgame and got blipped back, and then had an after credit scene featuring Skrulls and showing that Nick Fury's in space. You bookended Spider-Man Far From Home with MCU stuff. You can't all of a sudden be like, we ain't MCU stuff. That's like a chocolate chip cookie having chocolate chips in it, talking about I'm a snickerdoodle. So I don't even know how this even became a conversation in the first place, but whatever, man. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we can move forward and actually consider the actual content of the movies rather than everyone trying to act like they're all of a sudden a business executive and know how Hollywood works and knows the right deal that these two can make to make this happen. And I just, if anything, I hope that this is a lesson for all the studios, not just the ones involved, but just everyone, of like, money's gonna get made. When you're making money in the millions, at a certain point, money is just money. So if it means making the right story, having the right universe, making the right characters fit together, and all that means you're gonna get a little bit less or a little bit more as a result of that, you've got some powerful characters that you're working with, guys. And as a great quote was said, in the franchise you've been fighting with great power comes great responsibility. But all that being said, he's back! Oh my God, he's back! He's back! Spider-Man is back! Spider-Man is back! Oh my God! Did I underwear show when I ran? I'll check it later. Now let's address the elephant in the room. This could happen again. After that third Spider-Man movie and after that MCU cameo, we could go back to them trying to negotiate again and the possibility of Spider-Man leaving the MCU a second time. Here's my recommendation, because I'm a business executive. I know what's going on. I say with this third Spider-Man movie, run with that cliffhanger that you did, the J. Jonah Jameson cliffhanger of like, everybody knows who Spider-Man is. You know, the hunt is on. So you get that to be the basis of your third movie. You can reference the MCU if you want. You can have a character cameo if you want. But the big deal is about Spider-Man just dealing with the fact that now people know who he is and that he has to keep himself and his friends and loved ones safe. So that way, when that movie ends, you've got MCU Spider-Man having his own adventures where he's not so connected to Tony Stark or any other character, so that if Sony wanted to continue to do Spider-Man adventures of their own without having to hardcore reference the MCU, they can still mention a thing there or two, but like they can do their own thing with Spider-Man, but he's still MCU adjacent, so that if you still wanted to have Spider-Man in the other movies in the MCU, he still can. So it's almost like an everybody wins sort of thing. Sony could go forward with Spider-Man, do whatever they want with him, not saying that's related to anything in the MCU, but yet at the same time, it's still part of the MCU, quote unquote. But then Spider-Man can just pop up in a movie at any point. And Sony, if you ever decide to do your own Spider-Man movie without Marvel, might I suggest you had a great time with an animated Into the Spider-Verse, I think it'd be pretty awesome if you did a live action Into the Spider-Verse where you actually had Tom Holland Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, hell, even have Miles Morales animated next to them and all the animated Spider-Man together, all together. That would be an amazing movie. And that could be something you could do outside the MCU. That could be a very Sony thing, still using Spider-Man, but that could happen on an alternative universe. So that way, if Spider-Man then decides to hang out with Thor, Winter Soldier, and Falcon, or any of those guys, and they're like, what's this I hear about you went to another universe? And you can be like, don't worry about that. Let's just handle these 10 rings or whatever. Think about it. Welcome home, Spider-Man, even though you never really truly left. And I'm going to go back to TwitchCon because that's where I'm at, by the way. That's why I'm not at home. I got the news about Spider-Man while being at TwitchCon. Don't tell YouTube. Thank you so much for watching this video. What are you feeling? Are you glad Spider-Man is back? Actually, Who hasn't been in the MCU yet that you want to see in the MCU? Is there a character that's missing that should be added? Let's find out who it is before we find out who has the rights to him or her. And if you like me talking about this kind of stuff, I actually made a video that I uploaded while all the Spider-Man craziness was going on. So I don't know if YouTube shared it with all of you, but I talked about Kevin Feige and Star Wars and some other crazy news stories, Jurassic World stuff, Banjo-Kazooie stuff. So if you do me a favor and check that video out as well, I would appreciate it. And if you like what you see here, make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. I live like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000, and I love you 3000.